Díobh gach and hello everyone. You're really welcome to the alternative to Scoil gCláirseach 2020, the festival of early Irish harp which normally takes place each August in Kilkenny in Ireland. Between the 13th and 17th of August 2020, we'll be joining together each day to watch a talk, a workshop and concert footage from previous Scoilna. Find out more on our website at irishharp.org. For our final presentation of Day 3 of our 2020 Festival Alternative, have a listen to this performance.
I'll save the long-suffering Simon from that. great laments composed by Turlough O'Carolan on the death of Councillor Turlough O'Carolan, who was one of the great figures in Ireland in the 18th century. And most notable, not only because he was one of the most famous lawyers of his day, but it was, oh I see, now you hand out programmes, I see, in case they get a hint.
Dramatic delay.
A dramatic delay. He always has an excuse. So Turlough O'Carolan was an exceptional lawyer of his day because, by virtue of the fact that he was Catholic, and due to the penal laws in operation in Ireland in the 18th century, of course Catholics were not allowed to do really anything much, and certainly not practice at the bar. So he must have been an exceptional person indeed to make his way through that part of history and become such a beloved person. I played two versions of the tune. The second version comes from Edward Bunting's manuscripts. It's called Turlough Og. And Og, of course, in Irish means young, so to distinguish him presumably from his father. The first version I played, and I took the title of my recital this evening from this collection. It's the very first collection of Irish music ever to be published in Ireland in 1724, a collection of the most celebrated Irish tunes. It suited my purposes this evening because I just wanted to play you some of my favourite tunes. And some of those tunes happen to be very well-known tunes for this instrument. The next tune is by Turlough O'Carolan, but in the collection it's quite amusing because, of course, in the 1720s, Italian music hits Ireland, and it's absolutely the new thing, the rave. And so, of course, it's not very fashionable to be an Irish harper or to be to have an Irish name. Far more fashionable is an Italian name. So, of course, this fairy queen is not really by Carolan. If you look at the original source, it's by Signor Carolini, much more exotic creature. kind of thing that Carolan had to contend with. Perhaps lots of horses' hooves and carriage, really irritating carriage noise. So can we close that window maybe and open the back one? Might be the thing to do. You might need the pole.
Your job.
Great. Well done. I beg your pardon? No. The next piece was transcribed by Edward Bunting from the playing of Denis O'Hampsey, who was the oldest man to play at the Belfast Harpers meeting in 1792. Way and by far the most interesting of the harpers, because he was the only one still to play with his long nails, and still who played the old music in the old way. He played some probably medieval tuning preludes to Edward Bunting. But he also played quite modern, up-to-date music. So I'd like to play you two pieces that O'Hampsey played to Bunting. Both of them by the 18th century harper Cornelius Lyons, who was the harper to the Earl of Antrim. And as such, of course, he was probably used to going to very fashionable events and hearing normal European Baroque music and hearing divisions, the variation form that was still in vogue at the turn of the beginning of the 18th century. So this piece is a set of variations that Cornelius Lyons composed on an older tune called Lady of the Desert. And I'll follow that up with Miss Hamilton of Cornelius Lyons, which is definitely bang on early 18th century music. If you heard it on harpsichord, I don't think you'd think it was Irish at all. The Lady of the Desert is also interesting because when it occurs in manuscript 29, the notebook that Edward Bunting was using in Belfast, he had time, or he thought it was important enough, to copy down some of what the bass hand was doing. So in the theme, which I'll play you, and then the theme occurs, the same thing, one octave down. The bass hand that you're hearing, almost all of it is taken from the manuscript. And that's really unusual because usually we have to imagine and come up with bass hands for these tunes. So it's really nice to hear things that we take from the manuscripts that really have some of the real bass hand in them. There are 4 variations. 2 of them are standard European style divisions, and the other 2, the slightly quirky other ones, also have a lot of bass hand indicated in the manuscript. So listen out for a real vestige of a real Irish harper's bass hand. Not quite in tune, sorry. I thought I'd like to play this evening the version of Molly Halfpenny or Molly Nick Alpine that we were singing and playing in class this morning. So I'll try to play you exactly what I gave you, because I don't tend to do that when I play pieces. I never really look at Molly Halfpenny, so it's quite possible that I've steered a little bit away from the version in Neil. So I'll endeavour to keep my eyes on a page and play what I told you that I play. As we discovered this morning, it's an extremely beautiful love song with very, very beautiful text, very poetic text in Irish. Sorry?
Was the van mentioned? On the quote board, there was a van.
A van, oh yes, 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 that was a little unfortunate. One of the most beautiful poetic terms we have for women in Irish is spare van, which she's the sort of ghostly, ethereal woman. She's so fabulous that really she doesn't exist at all. You can sort of just catch a glimpse of her out of your eye. And then somebody decided, yes, that just sounds like a spare van. That really rather ruined my morning. Thanks, Louisa. Before that, I want to play you a little snippet from the unlikely pen in some ways of Georg Friedrich Handel, because of course Handel came to Ireland in 1721, 22? No, 41, 42, sorry, around the 40s. And when he was here, of course, he was working on his Messiah, which of course had its first performance in Dublin with the combined cathedral choirs of Christchurch and St. Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin. And so he's working away on his manuscript while he's here. And in one corner of the page where he's notating He Was Despised, the very famous alto aria from Messiah, he notates a little Irish tune that maybe somebody was playing through the window, which he heard. And he wrote down the title in German, Der arme irische Junge, the poor Irish lad, or the poor Irish boy. So I just wanted to play you this because there's a direct link between a collection of the most celebrated Irish tunes and Handel, in that John and William Neal, the father and son team who brought out this collection, were the great music entrepreneurs in Dublin. So they sold music, they sold instruments, they put on concerts. And the son, William Neal, finally had his music hall in a certain street called Fishamble Street in Dublin. And we all know Fishamble Street because it was where Handel's Messiah was first performed, was in Mr. Neal's music hall. So Neal sung. So I like this link just between Handel and the Neal father and son team. I just want to mark it by playing this little tune that Handel heard in Dublin. Incidentally, the Neals were also Handel's publisher in Dublin, so there's even a direct link there to the music he's writing. I wanted to play that tune for, and in fact I dedicated it to neither of them because I began it before I spoke to you. But I was thinking of Jane Carter, our wonderful patron, who can't be with us this year. And I remember the year that she played Carolyn's Farewell to Music at a final student platform,
Yes.
and just knocked us all for 6. And I know she's very sad not to be able to be here with us this year. So I'd like to remember her. But then I was also thinking of Tristram Robson, who would have been thrilled skinny to hear Thomas Zapf play his chromatic harp today, and who spent only a very short time with us, but left us so much. And I know he would have been just absolutely delighted beyond compare. His little eyes would have just lit up and gone, "Oh, how exciting!" And there he would have been. So we have his harps and we have his books. So I just wanted to remember Tristram today as well. So to end, not on a sad and melancholic note, as is my wont, for those of you who know me, I will endeavour to play at least one lively tune. So let me finish off with Carolyn's favourite jig.